Hello and welcome to episode 100 of
Woo!
Gondor Ale, a Middle Earth strategy battle games podcast. I, for the 100th time, am Sam Gallagher, and with me in this episode is my brother Ben.
Hello, listeners and viewers. I'm sure maybe there's some really attentive listener or viewer out there who knows how many episodes I've been in, and in 103, 105 episodes, I'll hit my sweet 100 count. Yeah, thank you for joining us for this episode 100. That is very exciting.
Yeah, crazy. Absolutely crazy. Before we start talking about how crazy it is and how much of a party time we will be having, this does say party time, but because the E is on the yellow, it really looks like Party Tim.
Yeah, I actually
So
see part Tim because the Y as well says it's part.
nice,
You just
nice.
part Tim.
Well, Part Tim, party time. But before we get too off track, we have had 100 glorious beers on the wall. Well, sorry, we've had 99 glorious beers on the wall. What is your 100th glorious beer on the wall?
My 100th most glorious of beers, Sam, is, of course, none other than a Bilbo's birthday beer. Not for drinking except on party business.
Very good, very good. You know, I am shocked and or disappointed that this wasn't an extra special beer.
It should have been. It should have been an extra special beer. It is an extra special beer. All right, Sam. Now you perhaps then going to have an extra special beer in my stead, if you will.
I am Ben for this extra special episode. I'm having a Lembas lager. One small pint is enough to fill the stomach of a grown man.
A small pint. Is that like a Hobbit pint?
Yeah, I guess it's, an American pint.
There we go.
16 ounces. For our international listeners, or anyway, doesn't matter. So, Ben.
So, Sam.
Now we talk about how crazy it is that we have 100 episodes. It's wild.
Triple digits, Sam. Triple digits.
Right? It'll be a fair number of years until we hit the next digit number.
1,000 episodes? Yeah, that'll be
1,000 episodes.
That'll be a while. It'll be a while.
I mean, we do like 26 a year, so yeah. I don't know that that's ever going to happen.
The old,
we'll be like
old hobbiters. Great big long tree beard Gandalf beards.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, no. When did we start Gondor Calls for Ale? 4-ish years ago. I don't remember. I should have looked this up.
But
it's been a long time.
I don't know, Sam.
It's been a long time, and we've kept very consistent.
We have, relentlessly so.
Yeah, an episode every 2 weeks, and I'm now scrolling through my phone live as we speak to find out. It was the 15th of June 2022 by Shire Reckoning was when we started.
Okay.
What is it? 26?
Yeah, so almost 4 years. Almost three and a bit years.
Crazy. Anyway, so in this episode, we are going to self-congratulate, self-aggrandize. There's going to be a lot of patting on the backs and cheersing and just having a jolly good time talking about all manner of things Gondor Calls for Ale. We are also we put a call out in our Discord to see if anyone had any questions for us. So there were some good ones, some funny ones, some poignant ones, perhaps. I'm not actually sure if that's true or not. But we will go through and talk about those. And I think just sort of chat about this 100 episode journey.
Yeah. Perhaps, Sam, you could say that we'll congratulate ourselves more than half as well as we deserve, but less than half as well as we would like.
Something like that. I'll have to stop and think about that. It always takes me a little bit of thinking to figure that quote out.
Yes.
The other quote that, like, at least the way it's read in the audiobooks, it always throws me off, and this is Lord of the Rings related, this is Harry Potter, is where he says, like, the poor toilet's never had anything as horrible as your head down it, or something. The way Stephen Fry read that in the original book, it's always sort of like, hold on, what's he saying? Anyway, that is an aside about me hearing quotes and having to stop and think about them. What an episode. So before we jump into those listener questions, Ben, we're going to, I think, check in about the 2026 Gondor Calls for Ale Hobby Bingo. See if you've made any progress on it, and hopefully you've got that pulled up. I have just gotten back to my page with that.
Oh
pulled
yeah,
up.
let me pull it up right here.
See if there's anything you've got done. While you're pulling it up, I can say I have successfully painted an orc, an urukai, and a goblin. I've painted one of those. I've painted an urukai, which it is supposed to just be one of those, not all three of them, I think.
Oh, but you've painted all three.
No, I have not. I've only painted one of them. I've also converted many a model to look different from how they are originally. Painted a model for an army I don't currently play. I'm painting some Mordor Uruk-hai for a Cirith Ungol army. So I'm making some quite stellar progress.
Well, I don't know that I am making quite as stellar a progress of you. I have started. Had I started my Khan Doom army when we checked this in before? I haven't actually edited my bingo sheet, which I should have been doing. But I've definitely started a new army, working on my army of Khan Doom. I've started a display board, but that's not made yet, so obviously different. I've been doing some converting of plenty of orcs, converted up quite a few orcs recently.
You've also attended a Middle Earth gaming event.
That's true. That's true. I've attended a Middle Earth gaming event. I haven't bought any of my teammates a beer yet, but I should definitely get on that.
Well, opponents, sure.
My opponents. I haven't bought any of my opponents a drink yet. I have done build and paint a new model for one of your armies. I've gotten through some models that I built and painted for one. So yeah, making some good progress.
Well, no need to spend too much time on that. I think that was sort of just for fun check-in, and to remind anyone that if you too would like to participate in Gondor Calls for Ale's 2026 Hobby Bingo, you can find the bingo sheet in our Discord. There will be a link in the description of this. You are all invited. Your admittances for everything party business and not, and otherwise, I guess. You can also find it for free on our Patreon. Also for free on our Patreon is our last half pint. Unintentionally, I just put it available to everyone. So I believe, or maybe it's just all tiers. Anyway, it may be for free, it may not be, but you should check it out as an episode 100 treat for Gondor Calls for Ale. Please, if you haven't already, check out the link in the description to our Patreon. It is one of the main reasons we've been able to do 100 episodes. It helps keep, as we say, the lights on, the cameras rolling, and the beer flowing. So
server costs covered.
yeah. I mean, it's still just deep in the red. But every little helps, and we want to thank our Patreons, past, present, and future. Your financial support is always truly appreciated. Got that out of the way while we're doing that kind of stuff. Before we dive into the main topic of today's episode, if you haven't already, check out our YouTube channel. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. We are dangerously close to 2,000 subscribers, which is a very exciting milestone. We may only have 100 episodes, but we almost have 2,000 subscribers. So rapidly are we approaching that milestone that the 2,000 point game we promised you will probably not be that close to when we hit it, but it will be coming.
It will be coming. We've got to get furiously painting. So it's a cool game, because we could just do 2,000 points of a lot of heroes and it wouldn't be that interesting. We're going to have some miniatures on the board, I think.
And maybe we'll do 2 1,000 point games to tide you over.
Good idea.
So, with all that said and done, Ben, should we get into some questions?
Yeah, questions that need answers?
Yes, perhaps. Answering, even. I now have to scroll back up to where I put the call out. Ben, the first question comes directly to you. Well, not really. It's a question to both of us. But would you rather be a giant eagle or a Bjorning? What are the pros and cons? Please discuss.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I would love to be able to fly, but I really, really like having opposable thumbs. So I think I'm going to go Beyonding, despite the fact that being able to fly would be pretty sweet.
But you don't. You would get to be a messenger of Manwë if you were a giant eagle.
That's true. It's true. Life might be different. I might not regret having thumbs. I'd have pretty good beak-eye coordination.
Yeah, yeah. You could pee and poo at the same time. Just get it all done in one shot.
That's true. That's true. Deposit it on my enemies below. Thank God that's not a rule.
Yeah. You could solve all of Middle Earth's problems in one go. Now,
I could have taken the ring to Mordor, Sam. I could have just flown the hobbits to Mordor.
You know, anyone who even brings that up, it's like, well, do you like the books? Because if they'd done that, there wouldn't have been any. Or there would have been one.
Yep.
It would have been 3 chapters.
Would have been a short tale.
Short tale. They also could have gone by river. It would have been a lot quicker.
So it sounds like you're leaning towards Giant Eagle over Beyonding, Sam.
Oh, I don't have a strong. I think I'm just talking about the pros and cons of it, Ben.
Sure,
I think one of the
Fair
pros of being a Bjorning is you would constantly get to sing the bare necessities.
Yeah.
Simple.
I mean, and if we're going with the tales of Beyond, maybe I've got sheep and ponies that are going to wait table for me and do my chores.
Yeah.
So that sounds like living like a Disney princess, really.
Bees that are the size of your fist.
That seems pretty terrifying.
The other question about it is the other thing to consider is: are you a Bjorning that can turn into a bear?
If you can turn into a bear, it's paws down Bjornings for sure.
Yeah.
If you're a skin changer, if you're just a regular Bjorning.
I mean, I will also say I have seen some disturbing videos of bears after fresh salmon season where they're trailing things from themselves that don't make it overly appealing to be a bear.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hopefully, Bjornings know about dewormers and other remedies.
Yeah. Well, I guess we would never know.
To Madagascar's hut.
I think if we take this if we relate this back to the Middle Earth strategy battle game, I would definitely rather be an eagle because that's a 100-point model versus 20 points, and a great eagle will take a Bjorning in a fight 100% of the time.
Maximum competitive choice. I like it, Sam. I like it.
Yes, just like me. So, without spending too much time on that question, a deeply philosophical one I may add, or I must add. I think, should we move along into question 2?
Yeah, moving along home. If you could join any MSBG event in the world, where would you go and why?
Good question.
That is a good question.
If it was a singular event versus like organized league, I must say there are a couple of the Australian events that I would really love to go to. The Silmarillion or whatever that event sounds really fun. I don't know if they still do it, but there was that like 300-point event they did that a couple of people talked about. Yes, yeah.
I believe they do. I think I saw a plug for it on their page the other day. I think it's still running. I don't know if it's the same Axel or Sword. There's definitely something running Axel or Sword.
Yeah. So I think those would be cool. 7 Stones in the UK also looks like a good time. And then obviously, Throne of Skulls or any of the Warhammer World doubles event seems like fun. That feels like a more achievable one, and one that's like probably a lot closer just to being a big generic tournament that people show up and put a lot of work into, but it's still people are taking the competitive choices and selling it as a theme rather than doing one where you're like, we altered how you build armies or add all these dumb bonus rules. What about you, Ben?
I mean, you kind of covered all the good ones, so I think I'm going to hit back on the highlights there. Definitely Sill and Throne of Skulls. I hadn't thought about 7 Stones. That's a good shout out. Definitely have to check that one out. And I'm going to give a shout out to some people that call us to go to events that we never get to go to. So definitely want to make it down to one of John Silverfox's events with silly points values. No other reason for these sets funny points values.
The Sandy Hills of Ruin. I'm not sure if he's running those anymore.
Oh yeah, fair enough as well. Get a time machine and go back in time.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ben, this one is probably better answered by you. So, What are recommendations or advice for starting a regular league? Currently, one meets up once a month, but would be nice to have something more regular.
Oh,
Um,
I think that is a bit of a tricky one. I think I don't. I see. I don't really know how you do this, but I think finding a way to champion like not only number one, like top three in the league, like whatever we all expect that, right? That's the sort of the point of the league, and then best painting. But I think finding a way to get like best sportsman in there without making it this like I don't know quite the best way to do that because it's just I guess it's community voted a little bit. Um,
yeah.
or like it needs to be something that you need to have your TOs have on like a checklist, something that they want to be keeping an eye out for while they're running events, and then report back to whoever in the league is in charge of tallying points or something like that. Because
Yeah,
sometimes
I
the
read.
quiet people that might not get voted for example, that always have a good game, or good game with their opponents, or I don't know. It's a difficult one to sort of quantify.
Yeah, I read this, and I definitely, which is why I sort of threw it to you a little bit more, and was assuming it was talked about an organized league like the OSBGL or the, I don't know, America doesn't really, I guess the Maryland Richmond, the Merv League or Mark League, I guess it is, and
Mm-hmm.
the Smeagol and all of those. But reading it again, it does also seem like, the current one meets once a month, which is not necessarily like that. So this feels like potentially more of a question for how do you attract people to play in
Mm,
a game, like a gaming group, a group of people where you want to get more regular Middle Earth games. So I think Ben has made an excellent point. If you want to start a league, you organize events, you you try and celebrate more than just the wins, because then you expand it to people like if the only thing you can celebrate in the league is wins, like I'm not that interested because I like the hobby aspect of it, and I don't
yeah.
care enough to really try, and I'm not that good at the game. If you're so, I think if that's the kind of league you're talking about. If you're talking about more of a local uh, gaming meetup, I would say, I think there's part of it is be the change you want to see. You say like, hey, I'm going to be there on the first Wednesday of the month and the last Saturday of the month at this location, or the first one's going to be at this store and the next one's going to be at this store, or it's at my house, wherever you guys are meeting up. And you just put the time in and you show up and you're like, well, for the next little while, I'm going to be here, everyone, unless something tragic happens. And then there's some of the small stuff you can do. Maybe you try and do like a battle companies thing,
Mm,
or something, a slow grow kind of thing. But the issue I find with those things is often that it's finding the balance between being too slow and too fast. If it's too slow, like 200-point games of Middle Earth aren't actually that fun. But if it's 200 points and then next week it's 300 points and then 400, like that's it's hard to keep up with that.
yeah.
So finding the ground for that. I also think things like, you know, make a cool table of terrain. I'm not saying like custom build the whole thing, but like, you know, paint up some Rohan houses and get a sweet looking Rohan table. And then the next time, in a couple months, plan to have another one. So there's new interesting stuff, and you are clearly putting in effort. I think an individual's excitement and effort can, I think, naturally makes other people excited.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to grow a community, there's definitely something to be said for sort of throwing out the competitive tournament concept. I know, like in Maine, we did get together and we had a slow grow. We got together every month. I think it started at 350, which was like I think the smaller fun end of Lord of the Rings, if you ask me. I think maybe a little 400, maybe a better starting point. Anyway, but when we got together to play our games, the didn't really matter whether you won or lost your games. We weren't like ranking. There was no part of that tournament that was ranked. There was like a group voted favorite army, best painted, whatever, and then I think we just had a random raffle giveaway or something like that, to sort of help support the store. Um, but it was definitely more about just getting together for game days and having a fun time and sort of rotating it around, which I think if you're looking to invite new people into the community is a really great way to start, less of the sort of organized tournaments. You can still definitely sort of put everyone's name into a spreadsheet or tabletop admiral or longshanks or whatever to sort of organize your tournament, so that if you get like local veteran players who know what they're doing and don't want to teach a learning game, you can sort of have people sort of shift together by how they're doing in their games, but doesn't necessarily need to be ranked, which I think is definitely a cool way to go grow community games. And then like if you want to throw silly fun rules on top of that, like we ended up with a lot of game days with odd people. So we found rules for 3-player games. Games Workshop did a White Dwarf article way back when. I forget the White Dwarf number, but if you hop on Discord and ask me about it, I'll find it. Where they've got rules for like a 3-player game, which is super awesome. You like sneaking to the center of the board and grabbing treasure. And we also came up with our own rules for 3-player games and like did Chaos and Arda stuff. And that like definitely helped drag in some of the new players because it was less of the like formalized competitive Middle Earth game and more of the like goofing off, having a good time, which is definitely a way to pull new people in, I think.
Yeah. No, I think that's covered sort of all the bases on that. So hopefully that you also, dear question asker, feel the same way.
All right, Sam, I'm going to ask you the next one because I think this might be one best geared at you. Who is Tom Bombadil?
Well, Ben, Tom Bombadil is the master.
Would also have taken a jolly fellow.
A jolly fellow, yes. Oh, Tom Bombadil. Tom Bombadillo, Ben, by Water, Reading Hill. By... Anyway, yeah, fantastic. Love a Tom Bombadil. More... What about Tom, Ben? That's what the real readers of The Lord of the Rings say. They want to hear more about Tom. Frodo wouldn't have gotten very far without Tom.
It's true. He can't go as far as he maybe once could anymore because he can only use come along me hearties or hop along my hearties once a turn now, but or benefit from it once per turn. Anyway.
Well, an excellent question. I think we've peaked and can probably just end this episode here. No, I joke. Moving on into a multi-part question here, Ben. What are our favorite model sculpts currently? If you could get one model / box updated, what would it be? And finally, is there an army you currently don't play but you want to start playing?
Oh, those are great questions. Those are all great questions. Favorite sculpts? Oh, that is very, very tricky. But I think it might be the new Hill Troll models. I think they're just I think they're fantastic. Plus, I've been really enjoying the power of the Hill Trolls recently, so definitely a little biased there. You want to bounce this one back and forth, break it down, or you just
sure? Favorite sculpt.
That's so hard.
I mean, it's incredibly difficult. There are any of the new stuff that they've been putting out, or most of the new stuff they've been putting out is very, very good. But I probably have to say the original Metal Fellowship that's going on Made to Order fairly soon, apparently, sculpted by Brian Nelson, is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, definitely some of the best likenesses to the actors, and they are super, super great sculpts. I would, if you don't have them and you haven't painted them, I would 100% recommend getting a set.
Good shout. Good shout. If you could get one model / box updated, what would it be? Plastic Orc Warriors. Give me Plastic Orcs. It's a close run thing between them and Tin Can Warriors Minas Tirith, but I play more evil armies, so we're going Plastic Orcs.
Yeah. I mean, that's
dream.
I figured you'd give that answer, so that is an excellent answer. I think I would love, as I'm sure many would, I would love to see that Last Alliance box set redone. I would love multi-part plastic. I mean, at this point, multi-part isn't a thing. It's not going to be like the old, you can stick these arms on any body. Like, that's gone, right? But, an updated box for High Elves and or Numenorians. I would also, which we talked about some episode many moons ago, I really would love it if they would like redo boxes to where you got like, I don't know, 3 cavalry models and 6 warriors or something, like make them one box rather than individuals potentially, if that's if that is part of the problem there, Games Workshop, that's my solution for you. But yeah,
Mm.
I mean, I think covering orcs and I mean orcs, the thing, because I also would love warriors of Minas Tirith, Urukai. I want all of the basic troops to be redone. Orcs just covers the most armies. So
Yeah. And finally, is there a current army, or an army you are currently don't play but want to start playing? Yes, lots. Having just talked about Tom Bombadil, I kind of want to play the Road to Rivendell. I think I can have a fun time playing a little Road to Rivendell. I kind of want to play some more silly thematic things and a little bit less of the I'm still enjoying my big competitive armies, don't get me wrong, but I think it'd be fun to try some other things. And Road to Rivendell seems very paintable because it's just a few models.
yeah.
What about you, Sam?
I think I really want to do. I don't know. I don't remember the name of the army. I want to do the Amda Easterling army.
Oh yeah.
I think Easterlings are cool, and I think that's way cooler than the Dragon Emperor. You know, I would be cool if you could. It would be cool if you could take Rutabi and Brogir in that army as well. But you can take Kamul in it for if you're doing legacy stuff. And I think Amda's super sick, and that would be really cool to have you know, a bunch of Dragon Call acolytes, Dragon Knights, and
yeah, it's a sick army. Definitely would love to see that on the table. Me to read the question?
I believe it is.
All right. What is your favorite song or written verse from The Lord of the Rings / Hobbit, and what portrayal, if any, of it is your favorite? This is a good one. I like this one a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a sucker for any Tom Bombadil song. I probably would say my favorite. It's probably the Sam's Troll song. Troll Sat Alone.
Yeah, Troll Sat Alone on a Seat of Stone.
Is pretty phenomenal, and the peak song performances, or actually the Boromir's the Lament.
Oh, Lament to Boromir.
Also very good.
It's heartbreaking.
And no peak performance. Nobody will ever be better in my mind than Rob Inglis reading The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I think a lot of the good songs, the best sung songs though, come from the dramatized version that the BBC did. If you're looking for like the way the songs are sung.
Yeah, but they don't do that many because you don't get.
You don't get quite as many of them.
Yeah, I mean,
you get Gil-galad was an Elven King. That's where that song, sung being
true.
from.
Rob Inglis is king for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think my favorite's got to be Aragorn's poem. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall waken. Unlight from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be blade that was broken. The crownless again shall be king. And yeah, Sam's right. Rob Inglis reading that is pretty fantastic. Although I think if you haven't checked it out, the dramatized version that the BBC did of The Lord of the Rings in the 80s or 90s is fantastic. Definitely worth checking that out.
Yeah, I agree. I do love that. The one that I always think, the song I always think about for that, apart from our sweet intro music, if you're still listening to this, but is the like super falsetto. Anyway, that was my rendition of that. I don't know if you can move the old microphone closer to you or not, Ben, but you are.
I'm fairly faint. Is this a little better if I scooch closer in? My chair's on wheels. I'm leaning further and further back.
Yeah. All right. So, I'm going to slip in my own question before we move on from that. Did you just have that memorized, or did you actually prepare?
No. I know. I just know that poem.
That tracks.
Yeah, fair enough, right?
All right. Moving along into our next question, we have a fair number of these, and we are approaching. We're going to have a potentially long episode. What do you enjoy most about the Middle Earth community? What is one area of concern about the Middle Earth community, and why? Aside from James Workshop.
Oh, so no James Workshop concerns. Fair enough. What do I enjoy most about the Middle Earth community? I think it's a very open and welcoming community. Like, I feel that's sort of a weird thing to say about gaming communities. I haven't really tried to break into another group, but I've definitely found Middle Earth folks to be like super fantastic, and I've bounced around a little bit all over the place so far in my Middle Earth journeys, and I've found people to be, super welcoming. We've got like friends and people on the Discord that we met down south in North Carolina who we're still in touch with and we haven't seen in many years. And I think it's like definitely a place where I've built a lot of lasting adult friendships, more so than like work or anywhere else in my adult life.
Area of concern?
Concerns? I think, we may be wandering a little bit into too competitive as a community and stuff, but that's not, I don't think it's as terrible as it could be. So a minor concern for me. I think Sam can harp on that a little bit more if he so chooses.
Well, first and foremostly, James Workshop never concerns me. The real life CEO of Games Workshop. I think the best thing about the Middle Earth community is the passion that people put into the tables and their armies.
Yeah.
I think it is a game where the majority, you go to an event and the majority of people have fully painted armies. Many of the events have a requirement, which I think is great, and while it feels like the norm for me now, it is not the case across wargaming. There are more events, more places that have unpainted, I think, than not. I think amusingly my area of concern is related to that, and I think people take the game way too seriously and take it way more competitively than it needs to be. Ben said I can harp on about that, and I absolutely will, and I will continue to do so. But for an example, like, you have these amazing tables. You look at Nova, you look at Adepticon, you look at any of these big events, and then, at least in my area, you look at the local events, and all the tables look phenomenal. But you can't have a super competitive game with everyone playing on, like, this one's a hill, and there's no, like, it's the slopes of, Amon Hen. There's no line of sight blocking terrain, so sorry. Like, it doesn't work,
Sure.
You can't,
it's not
if you want
inherently not balanced.
Right. If you want a competitive game, then you need to be like everyone plays this mission on this table. Next round, everyone plays the same and the same and the same. I also actually think the veto system is another area of concern in this, a similar thing. So, I'm not going to go on about it because I do talk about that a fair amount, but I think people miss the trees for the forest when it comes to competitive. I think it is a game. It is a very strategic game.
It is. It's one of the things that makes it good.
Right, which I think also means you can play it competitive, but it's like people are choosing to play 12 Crebain.
Which is no fun for anybody.
Choice. So that is my soapbox answer to that question.
All right, a few questions here, Sam, for our consideration. What are your favorite real-life beers?
I definitely read that as bears, and I was like, I have a story about bears. But,
do tell. No, just kidding. Moving on home, Sam. I will get a Guinness every time I go to a bar because they usually have it. My favorite beer I haven't found since I left North Carolina. It was called a Wesser Evil Porter, and it was just delicious. It was like brewed at this little microbrewery that I lived about half a mile from, and it was fantastic and cheap.
I thought you were going to read through the rest of the question, but that's fine.
Oh no, there's four here, so we're just going to go one at a time.
Do them one at a time. My favorite beer depends on the time of year. I am also definitely a bit of a basic bitch, so I'm a big fan of a Corona or a Pacifico in the summer. Nice, refreshing. It's easier to say, I think, probably the kind of... I don't like IPAs. Like, does anyone really? But yeah, I enjoy a good Guinness as well, but it has to be a nitrous. I
Or
want
draft.
the pour nitro, not a. You can get them out of cans as well. I suppose the true answer here is an old speckled hen.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Nice.
All right. Should I read the next one then?
Go for it.
What is your biggle? What is your biggle? What is your biggest level up in the game, podcasting, life in general, or whatever since episode 1?
Being able to do. Oh, I just did it. I was going to say being able to do these podcasts without going every 2 seconds. It's surprisingly difficult to not put those filler words in all over the place. And back before we were a video podcast, Sam used to sit and painstakingly edit each of our out of the videos so that we weren't talking and then talking more. So I did it right before I said that, though, which botched it. But as a general rule, being able to speak without those filler words when I really try to, I think is my biggest thing taking away from doing the podcast.
It does take a level of active speaking. You have to kind of listen to what you're saying while talking, which is a bit weird. I think I end up putting more pauses, as you may tell. If you can tell, I am now considering it more as I'm doing it. That is definitely a big thing. I would say, maybe somebody asked later down in life, Ben, but later down in the questions, one of your biggest level ups, perhaps, is you're now married.
Oh yeah, that fantastic. Good shout. In life, yes.
Yeah. I think the thing I am most proud of has been the addition of the battle reports. I really enjoy doing them. They're really fun. They check all of my hobby boxes in the sense that people seem to enjoy them. People like the armies and the tables we make. They look really cool, and I think we do a really good job with it. And even though we don't have a wide-reaching YouTube channel particularly, I think we put out high-quality stuff, and I'm very, very proud and pleased with the effort and quality that we put out. It's something that when we release it, it's something to be proud of, as they say in that One Country song. It's a life, Ben, you can hang your hat on.
It's true. That's true. Nice. Good answer. Yeah, the battle reports, definitely something to be proud of there. All right. Next question, next bullet point in this multi-part question. If we wanted to mess with the algorithm and go back and listen to plus comment on an early episode, which one would we recommend?
It's a tough one because a lot of our earliest episodes aren't on YouTube. I think we started at episode 76 or so is the first one as a video podcast. Maybe it's 60 something. It's hard to say because they don't. I really enjoyed. I should say I really enjoyed the Gunda Good, the Gunda Bad, and the Gunda Ugly we had with Avery.
That was good.
That was a fun one. Our interview with Hulk from
Forge Temple.
Forge Temple, yeah. I can never remember if it's
Temple Forge.
Yeah, it's one of the two. That I think was good. Whichever episode I sing the troll song in.
The troll beer episode. I think that predates YouTube.
I don't think it is. I think
it's on YouTube.
It's 100% pre YouTube. So yeah. It's funny, there isn't a specific. That's an easier question to answer. Like if you were to, once we hit 100 battle reports, it would be a lot easier to answer that. I think because there are more memorable moments in those. So that's my sort of answer. That's not really an answer, Ben. Anything that strikes your fancy? Don't be a whiny worm tongue. That's a good one.
When I got all angry and called everyone out, yeah. Stop whining. Anyone where I won? No, just kidding. I was trying to think of the best beers one, and that's a question I was going to ask us, and then didn't prepare to pick out a best beer, my favorite beer that we'd ever come up with.
Yeah. Well, I can give you my one of my answers to that was the white hand hard seltzer for the Urukai counting his kills as well as his calories was that was pretty peak.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a great one. The other one that got you was my Sting and Tonic. Um, hmm. Yeah, I got nothing. I don't have a good answer to that question, so I'm just gonna move on, Sam.
I would say pick a good thumbnail.
Yeah, favorite
That's the
thumbnail.
other.
The one where Sam's holding our faces. We've got James Workshop holding our faces in the Palantir. That's my favorite. That's my favorite thumbnail. That or you being stretched as the arrow for Legolas.
That was good. I am pleased with my Saruman one. It's pretty funny too.
Yeah.
I've had some good ones. That is a level up. That's a thing I really enjoyed. I think that's to sort of go back to the previous one. I think that's one of the things that's been really fun is we have fairly uniquely, obviously dumb thumbnails. Like I borrowed the idea from there were a bunch of people who play Magic and they do like Magic the Gathering streams and stuff, and they'll Photoshop their face onto a piece of art. And so I semi borrowed that idea, but then it evolved and became its own thing. And the battle reports were from like the idea was sort of their thumbnails was spoofing the like UFC like fight night things, and then from that we sort of escalated into I think you were like I'm gonna pose as whatever.
Hagerin with my funny scarf wrapped around my head. Yeah,
and it just sort of like spirals from there, and so I'm very pleased with the both organic natural growth of doing those dumb things that make me laugh, and that's the whole thing about all of it is we make content that I'm excited to make that I enjoy. So there's stuff I watch a bunch of other people's videos or podcasts and I'm like, oh, I really like the energy they have behind that or this kind of joke, and I want to be able to make those kind of jokes, and I'm not straight copying people, of course, but anyway, so that was
inspired by.
Yes.
I think you're next.
Ooh, I get to read. How do you get through the doldrums in the game, podcasting, life in general, or whatever that derail so many folks? Said another way, 100 episodes is amazing. Huge congrats to both of you. Of the vast majority of podcasts start out with great intentions but don't make it close to 100 episodes. How on earth did you make it?
That's a great question. How did we make it? I think we like sort of made a commitment to each other a little bit and have like don't want to fall short on that. Sounds a bit like a bit of a cop out.
I think for me, there are a couple things to it. There is personality is a big part of it. I mean, I was up until about 4:35 the morning, which is Wednesday that we're recording this, to make sure I got my hobby update video out in a way that I wanted. So I had to finish a model, take the blah, 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 which was very ludicrous. It is very silly to have done that. I am fortunate that I work remotely and can work on 5 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep, whatever it ended up being. But it is because I want to do this thing. I want to put out content that I'm proud of, and I want to do this thing, and there is that personality driving force. I will say one of the ways that I find getting through the doldrums, or when I'm not interested in playing the game, hilariously having the podcast helps. There have been so many events I've like, oh man, I had a busy week, I really want to bail on that event, or I'm not actually that excited about the game, but we need a podcast episode. So I'm going to show up, play the game so we can have an episode. So that helps. And then I think certainly in the beginning when we had less people engaged, less people interested in, and still to the point now, to the same point now, it's a good way that every couple of weeks we get an hour to hang out, and like, yeah, we on camera and chatting and talking, but it's not so formal that it's not a hang, and quite often we chat a little bit beforehand and we chat a little bit afterwards. So given that since you were what, 19, 20, you have been living out of state, or out of the state we grew up in, and living probably in a state of confusion, just kidding. But we have not lived within
Easy traveling
6 hours of
distance.
each other since your early 20s, my late teens, and so being able to, when we started doing the podcast, it was for a game we enjoyed, and it was a fun way to catch up and hang out and
Yeah.
chat about stuff. So that's sort of my long-winded answer.
And I think, I mean, part of it too, at least at some point in the early days of the podcast, the Middle Earth community was definitely a huge reason to keep on going too, because we really did and do enjoy participating in that and being part of it, because it's a good community. I think that's part of it too. And I mean, there's definitely something to be said for having two of us doing it. When I'm not feeling motivated, Sam usually is, and if Sam's not feeling like playing games, then I've got the motivation to go play games and call in and talk about them afterwards. So we can sort of feed each other a little bit in that as well.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously it helps being both of us have been married, as we said. I have a long-term partner, but neither of us have kids, so we have more time than somebody who has kids, and we're brothers, so there is some of that amount of stuff where I can be like, Ben, get your shit together, we need to record, and vice versa.
Yeah.
It's harder to do with somebody you're just like, hey, we're good friends and we want to make this thing, but
Yeah.
There's a level of you have to be polite that you don't have to be with family.
Yep.
Which
we can hold each other accountable in different ways.
Yeah. All right, moving along home, Ben. Do you guys have health insurance? Because alcohol is not good for you in the long run.
Well, I live in Canada now, where health insurance is largely free and socialized. So yes, I do.
There you go. All set here. We got livers in boxes, ready to go. All right. What is the meaning of life, Ben? The answer is obviously 42.
Yeah.
And what is the question?
Yeah.
6 times 9?
Yeah.
Joking aside, if you could move to another area of the US for SPG content, where would you be, and why is it the Southeast?
I don't know. I mean, I should have given this a shout out. I kind of want to make it out to Clash in the Coast sometime out in BC. I think that'd be a cool. So it's not really in the US, but Seattle, Washington area might be kind of a cool. Well, I guess Seattle, Washington is in the US, but that area would be a cool to check out. So I'm gonna haven't been there. Would be cool to go visit. So I'll give that one a shout out.
Yeah. My sort of joking answer is the general Texas area, because I still think that was hilarious that I asked somebody if that was, because that's a thing you can ask. I don't know. I mean, I think the only areas I really have experience in, obviously, is this area, New England, and some of the, I guess it is Southeast, right? Smeagol. And out of all of those areas, the events that I've had the consistent most fun with and that feel more at my speed of how I want my events to be is the Southeast. So I would certainly, and I like that part of the country for sure. So I would certainly, if it was purely for that, I would certainly probably consider moving there. I probably would more pick an area in the states I want to live in, and there would probably be some Middle Earth around there. So that's sort of an answer to that question.
And then we get through some nonsense on the Discord. I have the next question, Sam, which is: would you rather fight one goblin the size of a Mumakil or 100 Mumakil the size of a goblin?
Is that? Did I miss that one?
There's a whole bunch of questions about where in the US we lived that are sort of people just chatting between themselves, and then.
I was wondering did you skip the what's your favorite episode?
Oh, what's my favorite episode? I didn't see that one.
Yeah. Okay. So there's what's a favorite episode. I think we kind of covered that. It's really hard to say. we listed some good ones. So sorry, not giving a huge amount of thought as I'm looking at a 50-minute long episode currently that we have some more questions to get through. But I do think we really nailed some of the early ones for not really knowing what we were doing.
Some of the early days ones were definitely fun. We used to call each other on the phone and record our half of the phone conversation.
Yeah, the rise of Sangmar, because I enjoyed the name of that one. What was an unexpected positive that has come from having a podcast / YouTube channel?
More hanging out time that I get to structure and schedule and sorry, can't do social things. Got to hang out with my brother for the podcast. So
Yeah, I will be. That's definitely
I'm a much better Middle Earth player than I used to be because I go to I play a lot of Middle Earth games.
Yeah. I think the forcing my opinions on people where they can't respond is a big positive in my mind. No, not really. I think getting to play. I think the biggest thing for me again is through the battle reports, but is getting to play the armies and games in a way that I think is fun and that I would like to do more of, and we get to do that. The other thing is occasionally people buy us a beer and come and say hi and chat to us, and I'm a social individual. I like to talk to people, but I'm not the best at being I'm not particularly good at interjecting myself into a group or an already established conversation. So it's been a really fun way to meet people.
Yeah, actually, I'll second that. Having random people come up to me and say hi has been really cool. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been a bit of a weird experience first couple of times around, but it is kind of fun. No, I think you missed the question, Sam. My goblin question precedes the favorite episode question, so I shall ask it once again. Would you rather fight one goblin the size of a Mumakil or 100 goblins or 100 Mumakils the size of a goblin?
100 Mumakil the size of a goblin, because elephants are awesome and that would be adorable, and I'm fine. If that's the way I go, Ben, that's the way I go.
Plus, you're learning to rope calves, Sam. So, a Mumakil the size of a goblin is about the size of a baby cow, maybe even a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
You could lasso the sun bitches or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm also going to go with 100 Mumak the size of goblins, because what can I do against a giant goblin? I just don't know.
Imagine the boils on that goblin.
I'd rather not.
Yes, precisely. Well, as Ben pointed out, he was right and I was wrong. A rare occurrence. If you're a dedicated listener, you will know this. We've got, not sure if this question has been asked before. If you could take one profile each of what you think is one of the worst profiles in the game, what would you change to make it absolutely busted? Mainly using special rules, but is there some stat increases as well? Making something busted is
against the grain.
Yeah, you just any profile and you just give it Mighty Hero. A Goblin Town Goblin that has Mighty Hero is probably the easiest way to do that. If we're talking realistically, I think I would go for bad profile that I balance. So maybe we're gonna take our license with this question and move it to that, Ben, because that's a little more Gondor Calls for rail speed.
Yeah, sure. Definitely adding Mighty Hero to anything is a way to make it busted. For sure. A profile that I would like to see made better is the lowly Mordor Troll. He's only 90 points, but you still don't see him taken because he's a bit sad. So give him the Hill Troll Cunning rule, and that would be better. Give him 4 attacks or and either make him better. Just something.
You think that's enough? Hill Troll Cunning is enough to make Mordor Troll.
If we want to make him, like I'm going to reach for that every time I build a Mordor army, then he's getting Hill Troll Cunning and 4 attacks. So you've got 5 dice at fight 7 to win every single fight. I think that would just make him absolutely reliable. You still have to worry about heroes walking in, like Aragorn's just still going to blend absolutely through him. Maybe give him 4 wounds if you really want to make him really tanky.
They have 4 wounds.
They already have 4 wounds? Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. 4 attacks, 4 wounds, and Hill Troll Cunning, I think would be a sweet addition to any monster.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Probably the intelligences. I would
Mm.
love. I have two. I have two. The in that same vein, the cave troll. I
Oh,
really would like the cave troll to be better because they're like that is one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. I don't think anyone's taken them because their base size went up, so they got slightly worse. Right?
it's gone from they
It's
have a cave troll to he's got a cave troll.
so I think for me, a a fun and unique tweak to the cave troll that definitely does make it busted. Probably it still needs more than this. I think if you gave it the beast keyword,
Oh,
give it the beast keyword, and like say it can still interact with objectives, so that way it can benefit. It can use what's his name's Durzag. Is that anyway? Whichever the shaman is, who beasts can use his intelligence,
mm.
because then suddenly you've got intelligence 6 cave trolls running around, but you pay what they're like 80-ish points now, and you have to take that character.
That'd be much more
Uh,
interesting.
but it also means that if you're like, I want to take them anyway, or like, I'm still not taking them because I can't interact with objectives, which is partially why having good intelligence it matters, then you take that away. The other one I would love to see, and I'm not actually 100% sure how you change this, the warrior of Lake Town.
Mm.
I I really I really like the idea sort of behind that army, and but I think it's too expensive.
Hmm.
I'm and I'm not I'm not sure I'm not quite sure how you make it better. Maybe you tweak the rule where around you tweak the because they have that's part of the thing is I should have looked at the profile. I can't quite remember, but they have a rule that's tied to the master having will, I believe,
Mm.
and I think they just get to like reroll ones to wound if the master's got will within a range of them. And so I think maybe you could tweak but the heroes get like reroll all wounds and dominant something.
Mm.
So you know maybe you tie it. Maybe it's within range of any Lake Town hero with will. You get the reroll ones to
Mm.
wound. Maybe it's something else as well. Maybe it's reroll ones in the dual roll and ones to wound,
Ooh.
or you keep it tied to the master and you go like it's reroll all failed wounds and
Hmm.
dominant too, and then they're worth that 7 points. So
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but I definitely that's a profile I'd love to.
I've got another profile that I want to throw in there, Sam, which is Shelob.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Shelob should have 3 attacks base, and Gollum. Gollum should come with Shelob in the army.
Yeah.
I mean, you still got to pay 40 points for him, but Gollum come too.
Yeah.
Um, if you want to add a really spicy special rule to make her broken, you give her. We could let her do it as a special rule, and then she can benefit from Gollum wearing the ring.
Yeah.
Uh,
The other thing to do that would make it again wouldn't be broken, but it would be kind of neat to do with that is like the Garrison of Athelian army list where you can
Oh,
you can take you had to take Frodo first, then Sam, then Gollum. You do the same thing. If you take Shelob, you can then take Gollum if you want, and then maybe you say if at the end of the game Gollum is alive and has the one ring, you get like 3 additional victory
points
points.
or something.
Maybe
Yeah.
3 is extreme, but maybe it's like if he's alive at the end of the game, if he starts the game with the ring and is alive at the end of the game, you get 1 because it would be a bummer if it's like, but if you take the 1 ring from another ring bearer, it's like 3 or 5.
Five victory points. Gollum kills another ring bearer.
Or like and he can if Shelob kills the ring bearer, he can take it from her because she throws away the bones. Something like that would be kind of neat.
Yeah. There we go. That'd be cool. All right, moving on. Next question, Sam. I don't know my
The final,
What you got?
the final question, I
Oh,
think.
the final question. Perhaps more of a topic than a straight question, but I've often wondered what the community in general thinks of the fact that the game mostly uses inches. Back in the day, they suggested you could either use inches or millimeters, but that eventually changed. Seems so strange to me to have settled on inches. Doesn't seem particularly strange to me, but that's because I grew up using inches as a measuring size. It is a bit funny that the game uses inches as a measuring system, but all models are on millimeter-sized bases. I guess you can say that's a little bit strange. Um,
Yeah, I don't know that it ever did use millimeters. I think they used to give you ranges in inches and centimeters.
Sure.
They used to have, which I guess is to do with anyway, whatever. Shows how much I know about the metric system. Uh, they also Battlefleet Gothic also used to be in centimeters as well. So that is
Mm.
that's a thing. I heard a claim, a wild claim, not that long ago, from somebody who was like, do you know why Games Workshop games are all in inches? And their argument that they were basically like, because then they can sell tape measures because England uses the metric system and therefore you can't go to a hardware store and buy a tape measure. And I'm like, I'm not actually 100% sure how true or not that is. If maybe they do sell more tape measures in other parts of the world that use the metric system, which fair, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. It's what all their other games, with the exception of Battlefleet Gothic, as far as I know, it's what all of the other games use, and it just would be weird if they were like,
Hmm.
"This is the one that's in this." And it's a pain in the butt because, like you said, we grew up using feet and inches, and I'm like pretty good at guess range, and have a pretty decent sense of what's within, what's 6 inches, what's an inch, what's
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
No fucking clue about if you would tell me that's 13 centimeters away. I'm like, is that like this much or is that like this much? I don't fucking know. So for me, that's my 2 cents on that. I think.
Yeah. No, but definitely a game that you could definitely convert it if you don't like inches. Just convert
Or
all your measurements, and it would work just fine. I'm sure.
you could do what all the truly great gamers do, which is you shrink it down to half the size and you play tiny Lord of the Rings, and then you have to use a tinch, which is a tie inch, which is a specifically designed unit of measure because you're not actually straight halving the size, you're like 2/3ing the size. So
Mm.
every inch is not quite a
You got to scale. You
halving.
got to scale it down appropriately.
Yes, exactly. And then you make measuring devices of tinches, which are called tiacles. So that's my
So Sam's answer is to make your own measuring system.
yes. Reinvent the wheel.
Reinvent the wheel. Watch it spin and marvel at the creation you have found.
Exactly. It wouldn't spin, it would thud.
Oh, you're making a square
All right.
wheel.
Well, we probably, Ben, if we were good at this, if this was episode 200, we would have taken all of those questions and we would have ordered them to have a big final multi-part interesting question right at the end. Instead, we sort of ended with one that we had a really weird answer for,
Yep.
and got sidetracked, which does feel very appropriate for Gondor Calls for
It
AO.
does, Sam. It does.
But that is it. That is the last question we have for you. We have managed to ramble and chat and semi-reflect, semi-self-congratulate for about an hour, which is pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
Um,
Thanks to our community for mailing in
yeah,
questions. Sam called for questions, and you guys answered.
yeah,
6,000 spears
absolutely.
may be less than half of what we hoped for, but definitely a solid number of questions. Any more questions, and this would be a lengthy episode. So, good your
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, no, great. And, while we're talking about that, truly a heartfelt thanks to everyone who has listened, who has watched, who's liked, commented, sent us a message through Facebook, Instagram, via email, any of that stuff. It really, it really, really does mean so much.
Oh, yeah.
And back to how do we get through the doldrums and how do we keep this going, the community is a big part of it, and not just the Middle Earth community in general, but it's so awesome when people say like I really like your videos, I found this useful, or you're totally wrong about this thing. People engage, and that feels really nice.
Yeah.
And keeps it being like, oh, yeah, somebody asked about that.
One
I
of
should
our
answer.
reviews on Apple Podcast is not all that glitters is gold, but this show certainly does. And that was like, oh, yeah, you guys.
I think that is the only written review we have. I think we have a bunch of people have rated the
show,
podcast.
but that's the only written review we have. Well, it's
Yeah.
touching. Whoever you are,
Yeah.
read
Yeah.
and felt.
Yeah. No, I mean, crazy. It's been a journey with many an up, many a down, many a rambling episode, a fair few puns or punes or play on words. Lots of deep cut references and all manner of things, and now I really feel like I'm, winding down a loved friend, and it sounds like we're like, and this is the final episode, but it is not. There shall, of course, be more Gondor Calls for Ale. What's the next exciting episode number? Who's to say? Maybe 111, 111?
Yeah, 111, and then obviously one gross of episodes we'll have to make some joke about.
Yeah. So, I guess, again, thank you.
Should go to Bilbo's birthday bash in May and make that episode 111.
I don't know.
You're probably away. Or maybe not. Anyway.
I don't remember. I think we just have more 11 episodes. That's 22 weeks.
Yeah.
We'd have to...
Yeah, we'd have to store it.
Yeah. But yeah, Ben, I think that's all. Well, that's definitely not all I have to say. That is where I'm going to put the stop to things I'm saying for today. Is there anything you would like to add before we close out this episode?
No, just a big, once again, thank you to everyone who's interacted, listened, liked, commented, all of the above. Like Sam said, we started doing this for us, but now we're doing it a little bit for you guys too, because you guys are fantastic.
Yeah. We will, of course, continue glorious Gondor Calls for Ale content, and we'll be ending episode 100 and going back to a normal, regular, boring episode 101 in 2 short weeks. Thank you for listening to Gondor Calls for Ale. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. We, at Gondor Calls for Ale, are officially sponsored by the Baron of Dice, the producer of premium wargaming dice. These beautifully hand-swirled resin dice have no micro bubbles and are therefore perfectly balanced. With over 3,000 variants and unique designs, nearly every tabletop gaming system is represented. So check out the description of this episode for a link and a discount code. Go buy yourself some new dice and let the good times roll. We at Gondor Calls for Ale are not associated with Games Workshop, New Line Cinema, or the Tolkien Estate. We hope we have not misrepresented or offended anyone. These recordings are strictly recollections of games we've played and are not commentaries on the character or competence of our opponents. They are intended purely for entertainment, and we hope they will be taken as such. You can find us on Patreon, see the link in the description. Supporting Gondor Calls for Ale there helps us continue to produce these episodes. You can find us on Instagram at Gondor_calls_for_ale. Feel free to send us a message there. Or on Facebook as Gondor Calls for Ale, another great place to send us a message. Or you can send us an email at gondorcallsforale@gmail.com. As Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, once said, remember today, listener, today this episode was good.